Hey guys, Kid Dynasty here, and if you can tell by the screen right there, if you can see that, or if you just look at the title of the video, then you already know what the topic is. I'm going to be talking about why and how DC has more potential than Marvel right now. And I already know what's going through your head. Like, what? But anyone who actually knows me knows that I'm a big DC stand. And, the funny thing is, I used to love both DC and Marvel almost equally. I did love DC a bit more, but I used to love them almost equally. But then, as soon as the movies started coming out, I kept hearing this from people, just out loud, just constantly saying, Marvel is so much better than DC. Like, his DC's movies suck. DC will never be as good as Marvel. And, I do agree people are entitled to their own opinions. There's a difference between giving someone your opinion and insulting the people who don't have the same opinion as you. So, for the sake of fairness, since people can, verbally castrate DC as much as they want on the internet, I feel the need to protect DC on the internet. It's only fair. So, why do I think DC has more potential? Well, as we all know, Marvel is famous for making a cinematic universe, and DC is constantly compared to them for trying to also make a cinematic universe, even though it's not going as well. Now, obviously, they're still trying to do that a little bit, but something interesting that DC is doing currently, right now, is being different. Because a common complaint that I hear about Marvel movies that I think we can all agree on, a lot of them are kind of the same. A lot of the Marvel movies are the same thing. They're the same formula, the same characters, the same thing kind of being repeated over and over. The main character has a good heart, but they always have a falling out with someone. They make a lot of jokes, but then they can get serious. But then they have a sort of dark past, but then they have a great future. Then they end up coming out over the bad guy in the end. It's a lot of the same formula. But something that DC's doing differently is, well, actually just that. They're being a bit different. Now, what did Batman v Superman do that was different from Marvel? Well, for one thing, they weren't already friends. Batman and Superman weren't already friends like Cap and Iron Man were. So there's a reason why, instead of just stopping a second to talk about what's happening, they just kind of get into the fighting because Batman is so convinced that Superman is a threat to humanity. There's nothing that he could say to convince him otherwise. They don't already have a friendship that gives him better judgment. And it ends with Superman dying, so that in Justice League, Batman has had time to think about, wow, okay, the world actually needs Superman. And that's something that they didn't really do in Marvel. Now, what else are they doing different? Well, look at the villains. Now, while Marvel has a lot of throwaway villains, some of them being really good, obviously you got your Thanoses and your Killmongers and, your Vultures, Michael Keaton, and you got your Hellas, the big names in Marvel. But with DC, instead of, making the villain just interesting, like they did with Ocean Master, or just giving them a reason to hate the hero, like with Black Manta, DC's coming out with movies for the villain. I mean, I'm looking at a list right here. Right down here. You got Joker, Birds of Prey, Suicide Squad, and Suicide Squad 2. They're planning a Lobo movie, Black Adam, Deathstroke, Deadshot, Harley Quinn and the Joker, New Gods, uh, The Trench, which is apparently going to be a horror movie based off the creatures from Aquaman. Because I'm assuming just because James Wan does a lot of horror movies that he just wanted to kind of take the species from Aquaman and not only make them kind of a plot point in Aquaman, they're the reason that his mom disappeared, but also give them their own movie. Another interesting thing that they're doing, they're going to this kind of horror thing, but I see that DC is making an attempt to not only make the villain interesting, but to give them their own spotlight, to give them their own movie. And that's not really a thing that Marvel was doing at all. I'm looking at a list of the future DC movies and the future Marvel movies, and I'm not talking about like the TV shows for Marvel, because I think everyone can agree that a lot of these TV shows are throwaway, like WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That should have been a movie, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions. Loki. I mean, it's an interesting idea, but I mean, like, the whole point of why Infinity War meant so much is that there were characters killed off before the snap. And now you're just kind of giving those characters, you're kind of just bringing those characters back in a different way. Gamora's back because it's 2012 Gamora. 2014 Gamora. Sorry, that whole thing's confusing. And WandaVision, even though Vision's supposed to be dead, even though it might just be in Wanda's head, but like still just leave Vision just gone. Loki, it's 2012 Loki. They found a way to just bring him back. The only one who's staying completely 100% dead, I think, is Heimdall. And that's because Idris Elba is going over to DC for Suicide Squad 2. You see where I'm getting at here? Like, something's changing. And I think it started with Wonder Woman. And I get it. Justice League happened after Wonder Woman. I get it. Like, and that wasn't a big success. I understand that. But what also happened in Justice League is that we got Jason Momoa. And what is it? Ezra Miller? And we kept Gal Gadot. A lot of, even though, some negative happened with Justice League, a lot of positive happened with it. Aquaman was a huge success. Like, Flash is getting his own movie, and it might have something to do with Flashpoint Paradox. We don't know. And, I mean, just look at the lineup for Marvel here. You got Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which is reference to the Mandarin. They already did the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. So, I don't know what they're doing there. And in Black Panther 2, which isn't coming out until, 2022, 4 or 5 years after the first one, even though Winter Soldier and Civil War came out, 2 years separate from each other, so it's not even, a rushing it kind of thing. I already heard Jodie's Corner talking about this, the whole Marvel rushes movies and stuff, because they do. Well, DC kind of takes their time with each movie. And that's kind of what they're doing right now. And, just look at the future movies now. Joker comes out in a few days. So I'm going to count it when I'm saying this. Just for 2020, we got Joker, which is coming out in a few days, even though it's 2019, but it's coming out in a few days. You got Wonder Woman 2, Birds of Prey. And then there's the movies that people are saying might happen. There's Green Lantern and there's Cyborg. People are saying that might happen in 2020. Who knows? And then for 2020 with Marvel, I'm not counting their TV shows. You got Black Widow and you got Eternals. Eternals, nobody cares about, and Black Widow should have had a movie a decade ago. And by the way, the Black Widow movie is going to be a prequel. It's going to be a prequel. So, most likely, nothing in this movie is going to impact the future of Marvel. Now, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. But they're already stating that it's going to be a prequel because she's dead. Even when it comes to the whole, female empowerment thing, getting female superheroes out there. Wonder Woman had a movie before Black Widow did. Not just that, Wonder Woman was better than Captain Marvel, and now she's getting her second movie. Not to mention Birds of Prey and Suicide Squad 2, which is gonna once again have Harley Quinn. And you also got, this is just a rumor, but people are talking about it. Gotham City Sirens, which is gonna have something to also do with Harley Quinn, possibly Poison Ivy or Catwoman. Who knows? And then you got Harley Quinn and the Joker, which is also it's a bit of a rumor, but it's still stated that it might happen.